What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today, we're simply reading Andrew Cuomo's Wikipedia article. Are you ready for that? You're not ready for that. Now, as you know, Andrew Cuomo has been the star of our channel, and as we've been quite busy, things haven't been able to get done. So, until we can get back, we're reading Andrew Cuomo. Alright, guys, let's start off strong. Andrew Mark Cuomo, born December 6th, 1957, is an American politician, author, and lawyer, serving since 2011 as the 56th governor of New York. A member of the Democratic Party, he was elected to the same position his father, Mario Cuomo, held for 3 terms. Interesting. Born in New York City, Cuomo is a graduate of Fordham University and Albany Law School of Union University, New York. He began his career working as the campaign manager for his father, then as an assistant direct. Oh God, I can't read. Why did I choose this? And then as an assistant district attorney in New York City before entering private law practice. He found Housing Enterprise for the Less Privileged, Help USA, and was appointed chair of the New York City Homeless Commission, a position he held from 1990 to 1993. In 1993, Cuomo joined the Clinton administration as Assistant Secretary for Community Planning and Development in the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. From 1997 to 2001, he served as the U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Wow, what a guy. I was born in 2001. Cool. Alright, in 2006, Cuomo was elected Attorney General of New York. He won the election as Governor of New York in 2010. That's New York's flag. And he has been re-elected twice after winning primaries against liberal challengers Zephyr Teachout. That's a cool name. And Cynthia Nixon. During his governorship, Cuomo oversaw the passage of law legalizing same-sex marriage in New York, creation of the United States Climate Alliance, a group of states committed to fighting climate change by following the terms of the Paris Climate Accords, passage of the strictest gun control laws in the United States, medical expansion, a new tax code that raised taxes for the wealthy and lowered taxes for the middle class, paid family leave, an increase in the minimum wage, wage equality, and the legalizing of medical marijuana. Alright guys, let's jump down to early life and education. Cuomo was born on December 6, 1957. We got that. In Queens, a borough of New York City. To lawyer and later governor of New York, Mario Cuomo in Matilda. I'm not gonna lie. Super Mario was his dad, and Matilda was his mom. That's kind of wild. Alright. Alright, let's go on with the stream. Sorry about that, guys. Did it time out? Excuse me? Um, Taylor's asking what happened to the stream. I think we're good. Are you guys back? Let me know down in the comments if you're back. But I'm gonna continue. I think you're back. His parents were both of Italian descent. His paternal grandparents were from Nasserosa Inferiore and Tremonti in the Campania region of southern Italy, while his maternal grandparents were from Sicily. His grandfather from Messina. He is the oldest of four siblings. His younger brother, Chris Cuomo, is a CNN journalist. His elder sister is a noted radiologist, Margaret Cuomo. He graduated from St. Gerard Majella's School in 1971 and Archbishop Molly High School in 1975. He received a BA from Fordham University in 1979 and a JD from Albany Law School in 1982. During his father's 1982 campaign for governor, Cuomo was a campaign manager and then joined the governor's staff as one of his father's policy advisors and sometime Albany roommate, earning $1 a year. My man's getting rich on $1 a year. From 1984 to 85, Cuomo was a New York assistant district attorney and briefly worked at the law firm of Blurtrich, Falcon, and Miller. He founded Housing Enterprise for the Less Privileged, HELP, it's an acronym. Did you guys see that? It's an acronym. Whoa. In 1986, and left his law firm to run HELP full-time in 1988. From 1999 to 1993, during the administration of New York City Mayor David Dinkins, Cuomo was chair of that was a badly written sentence. Whoever wrote that needs to go die. Either that or I just can't read. Cuomo was chair of the New York City Homeless Commission, which was responsible for developing policies to address homelessness in the city and providing more housing options. Secretary of HUD. Andrew Cuomo was appointed to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, as Assistant Secretary for Community Planning and Development in 1993. A member of President Bill Clinton's administration. After the departure of Secretary Henry Casernos at the end of Clinton's first term under the cloud of FBI investigation, Cuomo was unanimously confirmed by the United States Senate to succeed him as Secretary of HUD. Cuomo served as Secretary from 1997 until the Clinton administration ended in 2001. In 2000, Cuomo led HUD efforts to negotiate an agreement with the United States handgun manufacturer Smith & Wesson. This agreement required Smith & Wesson to change the design, distribution, and marketing of guns to make them safer and to help keep them out of the hands of children and criminals. Budgets enacted during Cuomo's term contained initiatives to increase the supply of affordable housing and home ownership, and to create jobs and economic development. These included new rental assistance subsidies, reforms to integrate public housing, higher limits on mortgages insured by the Federal Housing Administration, a crackdown on housing discrimination, expanded programs to help homeless people get housing and jobs, and creation of new empowerment zones. Man, my guy is just helping everybody out. During Cuomo's tenure as HUD Secretary, he called for an increase in home ownership. He also pushed government-sponsored leaders Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac closer to Freddie Mercury to buy more home loans issued to poor homeowners in an attempt to end discrimination against minorities. Sorry, I just looked down. Emily, thank you for tuning in. Let's continue. Some believe that this helped to lead the 2007 to 2010 subprime mortgage crisis. Edward J. Pinto, former chief credit officer at Fannie Mae, said they should have known the risks were large. Citation needed. That might not be true. Just saying. Cuomo was pushing mortgage bankers to make loans and basically saying you have to offer a loan to everybody. But others disagree with this assessment that Cuomo caused this crisis. Dean Baker, co-director at the Center for Economic Policy and Research, said Cuomo was a distributor in terms of being a cheerleader, but I don't think we can pin too much blame on him. Alright? Cuomo has been called out a couple times. I mean, how can you call this guy out though? Look how cute he is. Tell me this man is not cute. Wait, it's gonna load. Just look at that guy. That's cute. Alright, let's get back. Let's get back to it. Alright. Let's get back to it. Okay. According to libertarian author and critic James Bovard, Cuomo was obsessed with changing HUD's image. As Cuomo declared, the PR, the important thing I do, 80% of the battle is communications. He championed a new program called Community Builders, created without created without appropriation by Congress for 800 new HUD employees with computers to be paid as much as $100,000. In a June 16, 1999 speech, Cuomo declared that one purpose of the program was to fight against HUD's abolition. In August 1999, Community Builders distributed a letter to community groups to fight against proposed tax cuts. One HUD official declared that Community Builders were seen as Democratic ward healers who act as a pipeline between Democratic city officials, party leaders, and the administration and the Democratic National Committee. In 1998, Clinton appointed HUD Inspector General Susan Gaffney, who testified to a Senate committee that she was the victim of escalating attacks on her office by Cuomo and his key aides, including cooked-up charges of racism, insubordination, malfeasance, and general dirty dealing. My guy got a little wild for a second. In 1999, Gaffney's office concluded that most, 15 out of 19, community builders' goals were activities rather than actual accomplishments. That's not good. Activities rather than accomplishments is probably not the best way to describe political stuff, so keep that in mind. Still love my guy Cuomo, and that Cuomo initiatives had crippling effect on many of HUD's ongoing operations. Gaffney retired in May 2001, shortly after the department reached $490,000 settlement with a black employee who had accused her of racial discrimination in passing him over for a promotion. Uh-oh, Cuomo, you got some racism in here. That's not good. Oh my gosh. Andrew Cuomo. Guys, somebody text Andrew Cuomo. My man Andrew Cuomo. Get him on the stream. I don't know why he hasn't subscribed yet, but he needs to. Okay. Continuing. Cuomo first ran for the Democratic... Oh, wait, we gotta read the title. I'm so sorry. Guys, don't give me hate in the comments. 2002, New York. Gubernatorial? Dog, what? Wait. Sorry, I gotta know how to say this. Okay. Okay, I guess it's coming up.
Gubernatorial. 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 Gubernatorial.
Okay, that's enough of that. We know what it is now. Gubernatorial. Okay, 2002 New York gubernatorial election. Cuomo's first ran. Who did this? Who did my man Cuomo like this? His first ran? Come on, guys. I failed English, and I know that's run. Cuomo's first ran for the Democratic nomination for governor of New York in 2002. Oh my god, I can't read. Cuomo first ran. Oh god. It's not that it's spelled wrong. It's just that I'm stupid. Alright, he was initially the favorite for nomination and led in fundraising at polls, but his campaign took serious damage after a gaffe when Cuomo said, in reference to the aftermath of the September 11th attacks, Pataki stood behind the leader. He held the leader's coat. He was a great assistant to the leader, but he was not a leader. Cream rises to the top, and Rudy Giuliani rose to the top. His remarks were widely derided. Even his father, former governor Mario Cuomo, later admitted it was a blunder. Whoa. The drama, guys. On the eve of the state convention, Cuomo withdrew from consideration after concluding that he had little chance of support as opposed to the favored party candidate, State Comptroller Carl McCall. McCall went on to lose the general election to George Pataki, right? I don't know. I don't want to look it up again because the last word we looked up scared me. New York Attorney General election. Cuomo declared his candidacy for the Democratic nomination for New York State Attorney General in 2006, and on May 30th, 2006, captured the Democratic Party endorsement, receiving 65% of the delegates. That's a pretty good amount. Though Cuomo won the endorsement, former New York City public advocate Mark John Green and two-time candidate for Lieutenant Governor Charlie King also earned places on the Democratic ballot. King dropped out of the race before the primary and endorsed Cuomo. Wild. Cuomo won the primary and with a majority of the vote, defeating his nearest opponent by over 20%. Clinching the Democratic Party nomination was considered a significant rebound following his unsuccessful and unpopular 2002 gubernatorial campaign, and at the nominating convention, June O'Neill, the Democratic chairwoman of the St. Lawrence County, called him New York's comeback kid. That's kind of cool. Comeback kid as in comeback to the teenage funny white lads. He won the general election against the Republican nominee, former Westchester District Attorney Jean Pierrot, on November 7, 2006, winning 58% of the vote. Tenure. Policy Surveillance 2007. On July 23rd, 2007, Cuomo's office admonished the Spitzer administration, cool administration name, for ordering the state police to keep special records of then Senate Majority Leader Joseph Bruno's whereabouts when he traveled with police escorts in New York City. At the discretion of top officials of the Spitzer administration, the New York State Police created documents meant to cause political damage to Bruno. Spitzer responded by accepting responsibility and issuing an apology to Bruno. Student Loan Inquiry, 2007. In 2007, Cuomo was active in a high-profile investigation into leading practices and anti-competitive relationships between student lenders and universities. Specifically, many universities steered student borrowers to a preferred lender, which resulted in the borrowers incurring higher interest rates. This led to changes in lending policies at many major American universities. Many universities also rebated millions of dollars in fees back to affected borrowers. Very cool. Comment on how cool you think that was. On June 10th, 2008, Cuomo announced that three major internet service providers, Verizon Communications, Time Warner Cable, and Sprint, would shut down major sources of online child pornography by no longer hosting many Usenet groups. Alright, that's my man. Time Warner Cable ceased offering Unset altogether. Sprint ended access to the 18,408 news groups in the alt hierarchy, and Verizon limited its Unset offerings to the approximately 3,000 Big 8 news groups. The move came after Cuomo's office located 88 different news groups to which child pornography had been posted. I mean, that's kind of a good thing. Can you blame him? No. Exactly. 2008, Obama remarks. Oh boy, we're getting into Obama. 2008, Cuomo said of the Democratic Party candidate Barack Obama, who was running against Hillary Clinton, the candidate Cuomo supported, "You can shuck a jive at a press conference." What does that mean? Cuomo received criticism from some of his for his use of the phrase. Roland Martin of CNN said that shuckin' and jivin' have long been words used as a negative assessment of African Americans along the lines of foot shuffling Negro. Why did no one tell us that Andrew Cuomo was a racist as well? God. Oh my god. Guys, drop a comment and tell me how blundered you are, how messed up you are after learning that. I can't believe it. Corruption. Oh no. Corruption and Fraud Investigations 2009. Look at this, isn't good. Cuomo investigated a corruption scandal, a fraudulent scheme to extract kickbacks, which involved New York investigators, the Security and Exchange Commission, an attorney general, and dozens of states. Also in 2009, Cuomo launched a suit against United Homeless Organization, a New York charity. He charged that the majority of the group's income was not used to provide services to the homeless, but was diverted to the founders for unrelated personal expenses. In 2010, Judge Barbara R. Kapnick granted the judgment and forced the group to disband. Barbara's name is in red, so I don't know what that means. She doesn't have an article. How sad you weren't popular enough in high school. Potential U.S. Senate appointment. After Hillary Clinton became President Obama's choice for U.S. Secretary of State, the New York governor, David Paterson, was charged with appointing a temporary replacement until a special election. Cuomo was seen as a leading contender for this appointment. Caroline Kennedy, also the first cousin of Cuomo's ex-wife, was another leading contender, but withdrew for personal reasons 2 days before Patterson was set to announce his choice, leaving Cuomo and U.S. Representative Kirsten Gillibrand as the most likely opponents. On January 23rd, Patterson announced he would appoint Gillibrand to the U.S. Senate. Elections. 2010. On September 18th, 2009, advisors to President Barack Obama informed Governor David Paterson that the president believed he should withdraw his 2010 gubernatorial candidacy, stepping aside for popular Attorney General Andrew Cuomo. On January 23, 2010, the New York Daily News reported that Cuomo would announce plans for gubernatorial campaign at the end of March. Later reports indicated Cuomo would announce his gubernatorial campaign coinciding with the state Democratic convention in late May. On May 22, 2010, Cuomo announced his run for governor in a video posted to his campaign website. Cuomo announced his choice for lieutenant governor on May 26, 2010. Mayor of Rochester, Robert Duffy. What a guy. In the November 2nd, 2010 general election, Cuomo faced Republican Carl Palladino, a Buffalo-based businessman who had been heavily supported by the Tea Party movement. Cuomo won the election for governor by a landslide, winning 62.6% of the vote. Palladino performed strongly in his native Buffalo area, while Cuomo performed well in the eastern part of the state as well as downstate. Okay, we can see the election results in New York State. It's kind of blue. Alright, continuing. How much longer we got? Not too bad. Alright. Let's keep going. Tenure. Cuomo took the gubernatorial oath of office at 12:01 a.m. on January 1st, 2011, succeeding David Patterson. During his first year as governor, Cuomo worked to pass an on-time budget that cut spending without raising taxes, made a new deal with a large state employment union, signed ethics reform legislation passed by a property tax cap, worked to enact a same-sex marriage bill with bipartisan support, and restructured New York's tax code. There was immediate speculation about a possible presidential run either in 2016 or 2020. Several reports indicated that Cuomo supported the Independent Democratic Conference until its dissolution and defeat in 2018, in part to appear more moderate for an eventual presidential bid. For his 2018 re-election bid, Cuomo accepted being on top of the ballot line for the Independence Party, a list that featured numerous Republicans, including ardent Trump supporters. On August 15th, 2018, anti-sex trafficking bill signing event. I can't read. Cuomo said, "We're not gonna make America great again. It was never that great. We have not reached greatness. We will reach greatness when every American is fully engaged." The assembled audience of Cuomo supporters booed. Wow. They were just like, "We don't like you anymore." In February 2019 opinion poll, Cuomo's approval rating dropped to 43%, the lowest of his tenure as governor, and a full 50% said they disapproved. The poll showed an 8% drop from January 2019. It was taken after Cuomo signed several pieces of progressive legislation, including an expansion of abortion in New York and stricter gun laws, suggesting that legislation may have upset certain voters and contributed to the drop. Coronavirus response. We all know this is what you're here for. In 2020, Cuomo received widespread praise from epidemiologists. Praise to the workers who worked during the virus. Okay, continuing. For his handling of evolving COVID-19 pandemic in New York State, which includes a statewide lockdown and a shutdown of non-essential businesses in an effort to help flatten the curve of the virus. Like many other national leaders, however, Cuomo received criticism for apparently failing to grasp the gravity of the pandemic before risks were fully visible to the American public. On March 28, 2020, Cuomo threatened Rhode Island with a lawsuit over a new state quarantine policy of stopping incoming New Yorkers to enforce quarantine. Corporate incentives. Cuomo had supported providing tax and other incentives to attract businesses to locate in New York State. He even joked in 2018 that he'd be willing to change his name to Amazon Cuomo if Amazon located their Amazon HQ2 in the state. Strong support for New York City's bid to become the home of Amazon's HQ2 faced criticism based on arguments that the cost of the state outweighed the possible benefits. Amazon decided on two major corporate outposts in New York City and Arlington, Virginia, instead of a single second headquarters. Criminal justice. In August 2017, the Cuomo administration awarded more than $7 million, financed with money from a large bank settlement, and grants to New York colleges to offer courses to New York prisoners. In January 2018, Cuomo proposed reforms that would reduce delays during trials, ban asset seizures in case there had been no conviction, and make it easier for former convicts to get a job after leaving prison. He also called for an end cash bail for minor crimes. Under Cuomo's tenure, he granted communications to fewer prisoners than many previous Republican and Democratic New York governors. Cuomo commuted a total of 9 sentences. Cuomo pardoned 140 adults who were convicted for nonviolent felonies as 16 and 17-year-olds, but had served their sentences. He pardoned 18 others who had served their sentences for non-violent felonies but were exposed to deportation due to their criminal record. Gun control. On January 15th, 2013, Cuomo signed the first state gun control bill to pass after the December 14th, 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in neighboring Connecticut. The New York SAFE Act was described as the toughest gun control law in the United States. The act came under criticism, and the National Rifle Association called it draconian. Stupid word. The New York State Sheriff's Association issued a statement supporting tougher penalties for illegal use of firearms, but criticizing several aspects of the legislation, including a magazine limit of 7 rounds and a too broad definition of assault weapons. On July 5th, 2013, Cuomo signed an amendment to the New York SAFE Act that exempts retired police officers from some of the Act's ownership restrictions. Hurricane Sandy. After Hurricane Sandy in October of 2012, Cuomo allowed New York voters, via a specific provision aimed at accommodating those displaced, to cast provisional ballots for the 2012 election anywhere in New York State. He also appointed a commission to examine the responses of New York's utilities to damage caused by the storm. Controversy ensued when the Cuomo administration used $140 million, including $40 million of federal disaster relief funds, to pay for the broadcast of national TV ads promoting New York slogans outside New York in an attempt to attract new businesses' investment to the state. Many have been critical of the effort, including the former New York governor, Eliot Spitzer, who called the ads fluff and a waste of taxpayer money. Hydraulic fracturing. In June 2012, the Cuomo administration said it was considering lifting a state ban of the practice of hydraulic fracturing, also known as fracking, to stimulate the economy in upstate New York. But critics said that fracking in upstate New York could contaminate the water supply of New York City, New Jersey, and parts of Pennsylvania. Following a long-awaited study started years earlier, New York State health officials cited significant public health risks associated with fracking, and on December 17th, 2014, the Cuomo administration announced a ban on hydraulic fracturing in New York State. Fracturing is a strange word. I don't like words. Independent Democratic Conference, IDC. In 2014, Politico reported that Cuomo had been actively involved in the formation of the Independent Democratic Conference 3 years earlier, which gave control of the Senate to the Republicans. He has been accused of failing to bridge the rift between IDC and Democratic caucus in the Senate despite being able to. Israel. In solidarity with Israel, Cuomo announced an executive order against the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Cuomo tweeted, "If you boycott Israel, New York State will boycott you." I'd like to remind you at this point that tweets are now considered like sources. So our children will be reading tweets about politics. So continuing, medical marijuana. Wow, they're gonna have to read tweets. Damn. Just let that sink in. Drop a comment below if you think that's insane. Medical marijuana. In January 2014, Cuomo announced the introduction of a medical marijuana bill. In July of that year, New York became the 23rd state to allow the medical use of marijuana when Cuomo signed the Compassionate Care Act. New York City subway. In June 2017, after a series of subway disasters, Cuomo declared a state of emergency for New York City's subway system. According to the New York Times, a series of New York City mayors and New York governors, including Cuomo, were partly at fault for worsening quality of the subway system and inflated construction costs. After the Cuomo administration, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority repeatedly diverted tax revenues and marked for the subways, paid for services there was no need for, and spent on subway projects that did not boost service or reliability. As a result, the MTA was saddled with debt and could not undertake investments into overhauling outdated and inefficient subway infrastructure. Cuomo also directed the MTA to spend on projects that the heads of the MTA did not consider to be priorities. One reason why the New York City subway system is so expensive is due to the exorbitant labor costs. According to several MTA officials who were involved in negotiating labor costs, Cuomo pressured the MTA to accept labor union contracts that were extremely favorable to workers. The New York Times noted that Cuomo was closely aligned with the union in question and had received $165,000 in campaign contributions from the union. The New York Times reported, Cuomo has steered clear of the MTA during his first years in office, but in the second term he took an intense interest. He placed aides within the organization and, in an unusual mood, made some report directly to him. He badgered transit leaders about the construction of the 2nd Avenue subway on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and over the objections of some board members, he canceled several MTA capital projects to make room for his own priorities. According to high-ranking and current former MTA officials, the moves interfered with the authorities' plans to address these rising delays. Yo, guys, why do we got so much boring stuff? I just want to get to the allegations. If we already got through all of them. You know what? We'll just start about remarks about right-wing conservatives. Maybe there's something controversial. Everything else is just stuff he's done. And it's kind of boring if you ask me. You can go read it if you want, but we're not going to read it right now. Alright. In a January 17th, 2014 interview with Suzanne Arbetter on WCNY's The Capitol Press Room, Cuomo stated, New York Republicans are searching to define their soul. That's what's going on. Is the Republican Party in this state a moderate party or an extreme conservative party? The Republican Party candidates are running against the SAFE Act. It was voted for by moderate Republicans who run the Senate. Their problem is not me and the Democrats. The problem is themselves. Who are they? Are they these extreme conservatives who are right to life, pro-assault weapon, anti-gay? Is that who they are? Because if that's who they are, and they're the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York, because that's not who New Yorkers are. If they're moderate Republicans, like in the Senate right now, who control the Senate, moderate Republicans have a place in their state. George Pataki was governor of the state as a moderate Republican, but not what you're hearing from them on the far right. That was a pretty good quote. Like it. Drop a comment. What do you think? This remark received a major reaction in the conservative media. Radio host Glenn Beck, very sorry, wrote a letter to the governor regarding the remarks from the interview. Fox News contributor and radio TV show host Sean Hannity mentioned moving with all of his assets out of the state if the government did not apologize for his remarks. Cardinal Timothy M. Dolan, the Archbishop of New York, said during a radio broadcast that the governor's remarks were most unfortunate at best. Are there pro-lifers who are extremists? Yes, there are, but I think they're a district minority. He brings up a good point, not gonna lie. The New York State Democratic Committee, which is headed by Cuomo, supported his remarks and reiterated them in a May 2014 statement responding to a speech by Rob Assertino, who was running against him in the 2014 gubernatorial election. Tea Party Republicans have done enough damage in Washington. Today's speech made it abundantly clear that we don't need them here in New York. Guys, they're just getting aggressive. Alright, personal life, and then we're almost done. Cuomo married Carrie Kennedy, the seventh child of Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Skakel Kennedy, on June 9th, 1990. They have 3 daughters, twins Cara Ethel Kennedy Cuomo and Maria Matilda Kennedy Cuomo, born 1995, and Michelle Andrea Kennedy Cuomo, born 1997. They separated in 2003 and divorced in 2005. He began dating Food Network host Sandra Lee in 2005, and the couple moved in together in 2011. The two resided in Westchester County, New York. On September 25th, 2019, the couple announced that they had ended their relationship. As of the fall of 2019, Cuomo is living in New York State Executive Mansion in Albany on a full-time basis. On July 4th, 2015, Cuomo presided over the wedding ceremony of his longtime friend, Billy Joel, to his 4th wife, Alexis Roderick. Billy Joel's got a kid now. He's kind of old. I don't know if you know that. He's kind of old. His wife's not. Alright, continuing. Whoa, can't talk. Cuomo is a Roman Catholic. According to the New York Times, Cuomo's positions in favor of abortion rights and same-sex marriage, and is cohabiting with Lee without marrying her. Contrary to church teachings, have become a lightning rod in a decades-old culture between conservatives and Catholics, and those, like Mr. Cuomo, who disagree with the church's positions on various issues, including abortion and divorce. His published works are Cuomo. All Things Possible, Setbacks, and Success in Political Life. Is that what we read next? His other book, Crossroads, The Future of American Politics. Alright, here's the references. This is where I got all my information. Thanks for listening to my essay. I'm just kidding, it's a Wikipedia article. Alright, guys, drop a comment. How do you feel about this? On a scale of 1 to 10. Also, does anyone want to do a stream after this? Because I'm down to do another one. It's only 11:30. Y'all better comment quickly while I look at this picture. Just another stream? Another stream tonight? Nobody's commenting. Y'all better comment. Just saying. There's been negative comments. Sorry, I'm just clicking on stuff, waiting for somebody to comment. Alright, looks like nobody wants anything. Okay. I'm gonna end the stream and maybe do something. We'll see. Alright, guys, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe, please. For Andrew Cuomo.